You think a gold watch and a fancy car fools anyone? I know exactly how you people get your money, and it's not from hard work. This is a decent family neighborhood, not a cartel hideout. Yeah, those were her first words to me. And in that split second, it's like everything good about that day shattered in my hands. One moment I'm a proud guy grinning at my dream car. Next minute, I'm just a target in somebody else's warped story. You know what I mean? Life does that sometimes. Throws you into a showdown when all you wanted was a little sunshine and a fresh start. So, let's rewind to the morning before my world turned upside down. It was my 40th. Yeah, the big 40. I'd finally pulled off what that 12-year-old version of me, the one sitting cross-legged on the carpet, building model cars, swore he'd do someday. Buy a Ferrari. Not just any Ferrari. This one was fire engine red, top down, so shiny it looked like it was melting the sunlight. 20 years of missed vacations, ramen dinners, nights sleeping on the office couch, fighting tooth and nail to build something out of nothing. My wife Anna beside me, grinning so hard her cheeks went pink, a blue dress shirt she'd pressed just for the occasion, the watch she'd given me after our first big software sale glinting on my wrist. I can still feel the weight of that moment. The flatbed truck easing down the driveway, driver sweating bullets, the engine purring like a promise kept. It was more than a car. It was a chapter. Hugh, my neighbor. I'd seen her, of course, always charging around with that clipboard like she was auditioning for a role in desperate HOAs of suburbia. Never a smile. Always a sniff, a scowl, a note scribbled in her pad. She wore these massive sunglasses, like she was dodging the paparazzi, and a blazer that could probably stand up on its own. She walks right up my driveway, stops dead at the Ferrari, and, no greeting, no how you do, just launches straight into a tirade about the wrong element, security threat, and how my car must be the proceeds of crime. I swear, for a second, I thought it was a prank. I actually laughed. Ma'am, I say, still in disbelief, I'm a software developer. I just bought this car. She gives me this look like she's smelling spoiled milk and jabs a finger at the Ferrari. Software developer? That's what they call it now. She went straight for her phone, and before I knew it, she's calling 911, reporting a suspected drug dealer with a bright red Ferrari, saying I was acting aggressively. I mean, what do you even do with that? The police arrive, sirens, squad car, the whole neighborhood suddenly glued to their windows. You know that hush that falls when cops show up on a quiet street. I could feel eyes boring into my back, watching, judging. 2 officers, one grizzled, probably a year from retirement, the other young, sharp-eyed. My neighbor's already at it, pouring out her concerns, making a spectacle. She points to the car, then to me. This isn't the kind of man who belongs here, she says, like I'm invisible. I keep my hands visible, my tone level. Good afternoon, officers. This is my home. This is my car. Here's my license. Here's the paperwork. The young cop checks my documents. The older one just looks tired, like he's seen this script before. While they're sorting it out, I glance at the Ferrari and my stomach drops. A long, white scratch gouged into the passenger side door, fresh, flakes of red paint on her ring. The delivery driver's mouth hangs open. Anna's pressed against the window, her eyes wide. I point out the scratch to the cops, but unless someone saw her do it, there's nothing they can do. It's your word against hers. The older officer shrugs. If you want to file a report, yeah, sure. Because justice is always so neat and tidy. After they leave, she shoots me a look so smug I swear I could feel it burn. She walks off, blazer flapping, head high like she just won some battle I never wanted to fight. Anna comes out, wraps her arms around me. She did it on purpose, she whispers. Don't let her win. But how do you not let someone win when the system's stacked against you? I spent that night staring at the car, rage and shame and helplessness all tangled up in my chest. It wasn't about the scratch. It was about being made to feel like an outsider in your own home. That's when Anna says, "You're a builder. You find the bugs. So find the bug in her system." That stuck with me. I wasn't just mad. I was motivated. So I started reading. HOA bylaws, financial statements, covenants, pages and pages of legalese that would bore most people to sleep. But there it was, hidden in plain sight. Transparency, audits, accountability. She had power, but it wasn't unchecked. Not if I played by the rules. Then came the real digging. Evening walks turned into neighborhood reconnaissance. Little by little, folks opened up. After all, I was the Ferrari guy, the one who'd caused a stir. Mrs. Gable, sweet lady next door, fined for leaf debris because her oak tree dropped too fast. A young couple warned about a stroller on the porch, improper storage of wheeled vehicles. It was all petty, vindictive, tiny tyrant stuff. But then I met Art, a retired accountant, soft-spoken, sharp as a tack. She keeps those books like Fort Knox, he said. I served on the board once. Tried to get an outside firm to audit us, and she nearly took my head off. I knew something wasn't right, so I made it official. Sent a certified letter requesting a full audit. 30 days, nothing. That alone broke the bylaws. Sent another, copied the board. Their reply? A useless one-page budget summary and a curt note. Request denied as overly burdensome. That was it. The opening. Art grinned when I told him. You got him now, man. That's breach of fiduciary duty. We found a lawyer, filed a petition, dragged it all to court. At the hearing, my neighbor tried to play the victim, painted me as a grudge holder with a vendetta. But our side, clean, factual, methodical, every request, every bylaw, every brush-off, all lined up for the judge. And she didn't hesitate. Petition for court-appointed forensic audit granted. All costs to be paid by the HOA. My neighbor, usually so powerful in her blazer, suddenly looked small. That was the turning point. The accountant they sent in was relentless. He went through every contract, every invoice, every check written over 15 years. And man, what he uncovered made the scratch on my car look like a paper cut. Kickbacks through shell landscaping companies owned by her brother-in-law, fines paid directly to her to avoid fees, and never hitting the HOA account. Inflated security contracts for patrols that never happened. Over $500,000 gone. Stolen from her own neighbors. When the news hit, the neighborhood lost its mind. Board members resigned. Art stepped up as interim president, called a community meeting, packed house, people standing in the back, folks shouting, demanding to know where their money had gone. How could this happen? They asked. Who's watching the watchers? For the first time in years, the HOA was forced into the light. Art, bless him, put in strict new controls, required annual audits, rewrote all the pettiness out of the rules. Stroller storage? Gone. Leaf speed? Deleted. Harassment? Now explicitly forbidden. It was like we'd collectively woken up. My neighbor? She went into hiding, her house dark, car unmoved. Then one day, detectives showed up, quiet but sure, and let her out. She pled guilty. Did real time. Her assets seized, house auctioned off, her name, once a weapon, now a punchline. But, as twisty as life is, there's always more to the story. Months later, the family who bought her house found a trunk in the attic, full of old photo albums, her husband's journals, and a pile of letters from some long-lost love she'd abandoned decades ago. Turns out, she'd once been a woman in love with a broke musician, but chose a life of status and rules over happiness. Her husband's journals were heartbreaking. He wrote about shame, failure, and how she'd become obsessed with power after his career imploded in scandal. Reading it all, I realized the person who'd made my life hell was already living in one of her own. The final curtain came years later, a letter from her, delivered after she died in prison. I was wrong. Your success was not a threat to me. It was a mirror. I'm sorry for the harm I caused. Simple, almost childlike. And for the first time, I didn't feel anger. I felt pity, a kind of sad acceptance that people become monsters out of pain, fear, and bad choices. Doesn't excuse a thing, but maybe explains a little. My kids grew up, the neighborhood healed. The Ferrari, once a lightning rod, became a running joke, the car that saved the HOA. Art made our association a model for the whole region. Workshops, newsletters, open meetings, transparency top to bottom. I found myself speaking at city meetings, then on the planning commission, eventually even running for council. Me, the guy who just wanted to be left alone with his car and his code. Sometimes, life gives you the ugliest catalyst and dares you to make something better out of it. That's what happened here. I became, without ever meaning to, the guy who stood up, fought back, and helped a whole block rediscover what it means to be neighbors. The real victory wasn't just fixing the books, or even getting justice for the money stolen. It was giving my kids a street where they could ride bikes, where folks waved from porches, where we learned that silence only helps the bully. And every time I see the Ferrari gleaming in the driveway, every time someone asks, Is this where she scratched it? I remember. I remember that a car is just metal and paint. But courage, community, the truth, those things, once earned, are untouchable. So now I turn it over to you. Where do you draw the line? When do you let things slide? And when do you stand your ground? Have you ever had to take on a bully who thought they were untouchable? Drop your story below. Tell me what you'd have done. And if you believe fighting for your community matters, hit like, share, and subscribe. Because sometimes the real battle isn't over cars or rules or money. It's for the soul of the place you call home. And that's a fight worth showing up for every single time.